Economies. They are what define countries. A good economy can be the difference between a bustling urban metropolis and a developing, isolated community. The different types of economic systems can tell a lot about how certain countries operate and what their priorities are. Today, we're going to learn about how economics work, the kind of economic systems there are, and how they work or don't work for countries around the world. Economics is defined as the branch of knowledge concerned with the production, consumption, and transfer of wealth. Two further subsections of economics are micro and macroeconomics. Microeconomics concerns the economic choices made by households, companies, and individual markets, while macroeconomics is the behavior of entire countries. Economists often talk about consumers, people who purchase goods and services, and also producers, people who supply those goods and services based on demand. Producers usually decide on what can be manufactured or provided based on four basic factors: natural resources at the producer's disposal, like Albertan oil in Canada; human resources, such as physical labor or human intelligence; capital resources, or money that can be put into building factories and or purchasing tools used for providing goods and services; and finally, technology, which is essential when trying to produce products more efficiently. Now that we know the basics about how an economy functions, we can look at the different types of economies and the characteristics they possess. There are four main types of economies: traditional, command, market, and mixed. Let's start with traditional. Traditional economies are scarce in today's globalized world, but they were once a common system used by communities all across the globe. The main characteristics of a traditional economy is that the goods and services that are produced are mostly influenced by customs, religion, tradition, and beliefs. Traditional economies are also almost solely based around agriculture and producing enough goods to survive, not necessarily enough to trade. Throughout history, there have been many successful traditional economies. Native Americans and Aboriginals that relied on hunting and fishing were very successful in North America until the arrival of European settlers. On the other end of that spectrum, Haiti is an example of a current-day traditional economy that doesn't quite work as well, with 2/3 of its population relying on subsistence farming for their livelihood. This makes them very vulnerable to devastation caused by natural disasters, as we saw during the earthquake that struck Haiti in 2010. To conclude, traditional economies used to be very efficient in rural regions and is still the best option in smaller scale communities that need to rely on the land for survival. But with today's level of globalization, the pros of other systems triumph over tradition. Going from one extreme to another, we have command economies, which are almost the definition of total control, with classic examples being Soviet Russia, Communist China, and North Korea. Not many people actually know what a command economy really is. A command economy can be classified by these main characteristics. The government in a command economy has total control, deciding on what to produce, how to produce it, and how to distribute it. There is no private property in a command economy. All resources are owned by the government. The supposed goal of a command economy is to create a classless society in which everyone is equal and everyone receives the same goods and services, but more often than not, that isn't the case. Another flaw with this system is that the government can have trouble allocating goods efficiently. Since there are so many factors that control the demand for a product, there are often shortages or surpluses of certain goods that go to waste, which hurt the country financially. This is very different from an economy where private industries can provide specialized goods for every kind of buyer. There has never been a truly successful, pure command economy, but some economists think that in theory, the system could work if governments kept a good relationship with citizens and had an effective method of allocating goods and services. Now that we've looked at traditional and command economies, let's take a look at market economies. While command economies represent power and control, market economies are almost entirely free of government interference and run by private enterprises. Basically, anyone can produce, buy, and sell any legal product they want. And businesses can attract consumers through any means, for example with lower prices or advertising. The government only controls a common set of rules, protects ownership rights, and maintains a monetary system. A market economy is heavily based around supply and demand, which makes it very profit-driven. But with a market economy and with the drive for profit, there are some downsides. Producers are more inclined to make products people want and will pay for, rather than things they may need. Monopolization is also an issue, as those with more money or power could produce goods for cheaper prices, giving them an unfair and unsettling grip on the market. There is no current pure market economy, but arguably the closest country to market freedom is Hong Kong. Hong Kong has a very open market and is very good at giving the government just enough involvement to efficiently regulate its standard rules and laws. In the end, a market economy could work, but for now, most economies tend to do a little mixing of both open market and government policies. That leads us right into our fourth and final system, mixed economies. The most commonly used system in current day society, a mixed economy takes elements of command and market economies and puts them together in a way that best suits their country. Some economies are more or less mixed than others, but the basic principles are the same. The main characteristics of a mixed economy are that the government takes care of people's needs, while the marketplace takes care of people's wants. This means that private firms have most of the business and industry, which leads to more efficiency due to a profit incentive. But it also means the government has the right to make rules that prevent monopolies or excessive pollution using taxes and laws. Unfortunately, not everyone likes to pay taxes, so sometimes it can cause the public to question what the money is being used for. The biggest advantage of a market economy is probably the fact that it creates a safety net for people in absolute poverty, as the government provides them with basic necessities, and in turn helps them get back to a form of stability where they can then contribute back to society. A mixed economy works for many countries because of the balance it gives between government control and private industries. Now you might be thinking, great, we now know all about the different types of economic systems, but what do I have to do with it? How does this affect me? And I'm here to tell you that it affects you greatly. Canada is considered by many to be a mixed economy. There are private companies as well as a government that plays a vital role in controlling the state's budget, determining the rules regarding most of the corporate and personal income taxes, and collecting them. From these taxes, the government can then provide money to services like the Canadian Pension Plan, Veterans Affairs, Environment Canada, Children's Benefits, and healthcare. Having a mixed economy gives us the opportunity to pursue a better quality of life because we are supplied with what we need and then have the choice to also buy what we want. In the end, what we can learn from all of this is that different economies work for different countries. Some economies are mixed, but more command-based, while others are more market-based. But the most important thing to remember is that all countries, even developing ones, need to find an economic model that works for them if they're ever going to succeed. An economy that can integrate private and public sectors in a way that fits each country's interests and needs.